My dear readers, let us sail directly into the heart of the tale that has so unjustly escaped the public eye. I speak of Captain Charles H. Barnard, master of the American sealing schooner Nanina, who stumbled upon the survivors of the wrecked British ship Isabella on the shores of the Falkland Islands in 1813. This account exemplifies the transcendent themes of duplicity and survival that are woven into the darkest corners of maritime history. The previous year, in 1812, a sealing expedition was conceived by Captain Charles Barnard and his father, Captain Valentine Barnard, under an agreement with Messrs. John B. Murray and Son. The agreement stipulated that the company would procure a vessel, which Barnard approved, outfit it with necessary equipment, and stock it fully with provisions. In return for their investment, the company was entitled to 52% of the proceeds from the skins and oils obtained, while Barnard would receive the remaining 48%. The vessel chosen for this venture was the brig Nanina, which was readied with ample supplies for the journey. The expedition's plan was ambitious yet straightforward. Upon reaching their destination, they aimed to harvest as many sealskins as possible. Then, while the Nanina returned to New York for trading, Barnard and select crew members would remain on the island, continuing their sealing efforts. This strategy was designed to maximize their yield and make efficient use of time and resources. The Nanina set sail on April 6, 1812, amidst uncertainties brought about by the imposition of an embargo by the United States Congress. This embargo threatened to anchor all vessels within U.S. harbors and waters, creating a sense of urgency for Barnard's departure. The crew steered the vessel toward the Cape Verde Islands to procure salt for curing sealskins and replenish their water supply. After a 35-day journey, they reached Bonavista, where they stocked up on essential provisions, including livestock and fresh vegetables. From Bonavista, the Nanina journeyed to St. Jago before setting course for the Falkland Islands. Despite several gales impeding their progress, they finally anchored in Hooker's Harbor on New Island on September 7th. Upon arrival, the crew began the laborious task of constructing shallops on shore necessary for their sealing operations. These small boats would allow them to navigate the archipelago in pursuit of seals. This meticulous preparation underscores the challenges and risks inherent in such maritime ventures of the early 19th century. It was a time when the ocean's bounty was sought after with fervor, often at great peril to those who dared to venture into its vast and unpredictable expanse. However, Barnard's expedition took an unexpected turn when they encountered the survivors of the British ship Isabella, wrecked off Eagle Island. Despite being unaware of the War of 1812 and technically enemies, Barnard, adhering to the unwritten laws of the sea, offered assistance to the shipwrecked sailors. This decision, born out of a sense of maritime brotherhood and humanity, set in motion a series of events that would test the limits of human endurance and morality. Barnard, upon discovering the desperate British sailors of the Isabella, did not hesitate to act in the spirit of benevolence and maritime solidarity. The ocean is, after all, a realm that fosters a kinship transcending national enmity or competitive endeavors. The shared perils at sea often dissolve the barriers that divide us on land. Hence, demonstrating a conviction to the sailor's code, Barnard offered aid and succor to his fellow mariners, sharing with them provisions and offering passage away from their desolate beach. Yet the narrative takes a turn for the treacherous, akin to a squall that emerges unexpectedly upon a once calm sea. While Barnard engaged in a salvage expedition on another part of the archipelago, some of the British survivors engaged in an act of egregious betrayal. They seized the Nanina, abandoning Barnard and a few of his loyal men to the uncaring winds and the unforgiving wilderness of the Falklands. In this cruel twist, we uncover stark lessons in the darker corners of the human psyche. Deception for survival or self-interest is an unwelcome reminder of what people may be reduced to when under duress or when opportunity's siren song lures them into treachery. The Isabella's survivors, fearing to overwinter in the dim and dank climes of the Falklands, succumbed to the perverse calculus that their lives were worth the forfeiture of their honor and their humanity. Barnard's predicament, thus, squares us with the many facets of maritime trial. how isolation can be the fertile soil for ingenuity as well as desperation, how the laws of mankind seem dwarfed by the majesty and the menace of nature's whims. For nearly 2 years, marooned in that alien landscape, Barnard and his men demonstrated a remarkable resilience, making do with scarce resources, employing the native flora and fauna for sustenance, and even building seaworthy craft from the spare remnants of other unfortunate vessels. In the wake of this betrayal, Captain Barnard, along with his remaining crew, were compelled to muster their ingenuity in the face of abandonment without provisions. The scarce bounty from 3 small potatoes he had initially planted scarcely sufficed to provide adequate sustenance. Yet, with quintessential human resourcefulness, Barnard and his men relied on the intermittent success of a dog catching wild pigs and gathering the eggs of albatrosses during the proper season for sustenance. These proved to be primitive but effective means of survival, offering a substitute for bread, while the harsh climate necessitated the crafting of clothes from seal skins. Their domestication of the environment went further, as they constructed a stone house sufficient to withstand the island's winter storms. This would have provided a degree of solace in their isolation, were it not for the psychological toll exacted by the severance from loved ones. Desperately lacking the prospect of rescue, Barnard faced not only the barren elements but the strain of maintaining cohesion among the men left in his charge. His companions, chafing under even the lightest mantle of leadership, rebelled, absconding with a boat and leaving him in absolute solitude. During this time, Barnard was forced into a monk-like existence, preparing for the harsh winter, crafting apparel from seal skins, and maintaining a daily vigil atop a hill, scanning the horizon for the thin promise of a sail. The eventual return of his crew, having failed to fend for themselves, marked not reunion, but a renewal of internal strife, one that teetered on the brink of mutiny and violence, with Barnard's life clandestinely marked for assassination. This treachery was averted, and in a twist of fate worthy of a seafarer's yarn, the would-be murderer found himself marooned, much like Barnard before him, a solitary penitent reflecting on his crimes. The relentless compression of human dynamics, faced with survival in isolation, bore down upon the castaways for 2 full years. As they eked out an existence from the island and its neighboring locales, an evolution in their collective spirit seems to have occurred. They grew more amenable to Barnard's guidance, obtaining provisions and, most remarkably, witnessing a spiritual awakening in the erstwhile mutineer. Their deliverance in November 1814 by the English whaling ships, the Asp and the Indispensable, bound for the Pacific, was a denouement rife with irony. Barnard noted that a British man-of-war had ostensibly sailed from Rio Janeiro for their rescue, a claim he refuted. In truth, a vessel from Buenos Aires had sought the Isabella's marooned survivors, not his own party. Thus the British prioritized their own, while Barnard and his American companions remained the neglected, yet stubbornly enduring castaways. Embarking aboard the whaler, the fateful journey of Captain Charles Barnard did not conclude upon his departure from the Falkland Islands. Following his rescue, a continuation of his remarkable narrative saw him traverse yet more of the world's vast waters. The English whaler that became his chariot of salvation carted him off to the Hawaiian Islands, then known as the Sandwich Islands, where the magnitude of the ocean's vastness was juxtaposed against the intimacy of its scattered paradises. A voyage ensued to the bustling trade environs of Canton in China, solidifying his already extensive credentials as a seasoned navigator of both the perils at sea and the intricacies of global commerce. Finally, after countless nautical miles and trials that would have sundered a less resilient spirit, Barnard set foot once again on the familiar shores of New York, a city distant and detached from the desolation of the Falklands. It was there, on his home ground, where the echoes of his odyssey resonated with the deepest intensity, a reminder of the journey's transformative power upon the voyager's soul, and a testament to the unwavering tenacity inherent in the mariner's heart.